libraries using the Schools Union Catalog database. This is John with Opal's Library Systems, and in this tutorial I will be receiving back an item that a library had sent out to a borrowing library. I'd like to thank the GST BOCES Instructional Support Library for the use of their library to make these recordings, as well as the Horseheads Middle School Library that allowed me to make these recordings as well. In this tutorial, I will be receiving an item that Horseheads Middle School lent out to the GST Instructional Support Library. To receive the item back and put it in my collection, I will click the ILL tab. I will be clicking Responses. In other words, I'm responding to an item that was lent out to another library, and I'm responding to that as it was returned. And here we have all the ILL responses over the last number of weeks, and the very top one is the one I'm referring to. We see the ILL ID, which is important to use through the ILL process, the title, call number, author. The requester was the GST School Library System Instructional Support Library. It was requested on February 7th, 2022. The expiry is if the book that was requested wouldn't get there in time, and it wouldn't be needed after the 28th. In this case, that did not happen. Finally, the status is returned by requester. So my final step after loaning the item out to another library is to receive it back. I'm going to click the ILL ID, and the screen will open up with all the information: the ILL ID, the title, the author, the call number, the requester. Just one note: the borrower. In New York State, it is against the Privacy of Information Act to put a user's name and their ID in the same electronic transmission. In other words, a student at the GST Instructional Support Library, or a faculty member, administrator, you can put their name in so that when the book comes to you from the lending library, you know who to give it to. But you cannot have their ID at the same time in the same electronic transmission. You can have one or the other. So in this case, you'll see the name John S., but no ID. Okay. You'll see here the responder was the Horseheads Middle School, right here, of the Horseheads Central School District. And here's the history of the ILL process. A request was made, a response was honored, and they filled the request right here. And then the requester, i.e. the GST Instructional Support Library, sent the item back, and now I am going to receive it. You'll see here, again, the status is returned and in transit. I have just received the item, and it's really quite simple to receive it just by simply clicking Receive and going through that process. Print for shelf lookup. Maybe I borrowed 20 books and they all came from the Horseheads Middle School Library or whatever. You can always print the report of all the call numbers, author, and title is needed. In this case, I'm receiving the book, so I really don't need a packing slip. I could maybe write a note or a response back to the borrowing library saying whatever I'd like to say, or if the book came in the package but it wasn't in the package, if the book came just an empty package, I could report it lost. In this case, I'm simply going to receive the item. I'm just going to copy this barcode real quick in case I need it. So I'm going to click Receive. I'm going to scan in the barcode. You will have a scanner. I'm going to check this off. I don't really need a public note in this case or a private note, unless, of course, the package came empty without the book in it. Then I may want to make a note, send it back to the borrowing library to let them know the package was empty. I simply click OK, and now you'll see that the status has changed from in transit to received. So the entire ILL process of searching the catalog, finding the book I needed, requesting it from another library, the requesting library has lent it to the requester, and now the requester has sent it back, and it's been received, and it'll be shelved in the Loaning Libraries library. Thank you very much. If you need any help, please email support@opalsinfo.net or call 877-331-1022 and ask for tech support.